welcome to Good Books in the Woods. We're the new bookstore with, although we get mostly used books, with aspirations to be the literary bookstore in the Woodlands area. And so we're really happy to see that poetry is still alive, and it's a big draw too. They're here under false pretenses. There will be no shooting tonight. So all you Texans, leave your revolvers at the door here. And but hopefully there will be verbal pyrotechnics, because I didn't know this until I listened to their interview on Houston Public Radio today. But these gents are rivals, so hopefully there'll really be something going on. So we're going to leave that up to you guys.
Well, let me introduce Mr. Parsons here to you guys who don't know him. He is, well, old as dirt, but as a teacher and staff, he's not quite dead yet. He is a poet laureate of Montgomery County. He is the founder of Writers.
Paul and I go way back, and when I was thinking about introducing him, I was thinking how many times I've introduced him in the last 20 years. What it takes to be a poet laureate in Texas. I think you can go online to his website, paulruffin.com, I believe is what I'll be. And pull up his Vita, and after you've read for 2 hours, you get an inkling of what this man has done. And
I can't write a poem anymore. I write newspaper columns and feature stories and short stories and novels and essays and all that kind of thing. I had not written a new poem in forever. What am I going to do? One morning about 2:30, I woke up and I was staring at the ceiling thinking about what I would write in my column for the next week. And then all of a sudden it came to me, what if you took some of your weirder columns and transformed them into yourself? I got up and I started writing these things that I'd been writing in my head all night, or all morning. And before I knew it, I had about between 30 and 40 pages of new poems. I got the potential for maybe 500 poems. And you'd be surprised how fast those things will convert to poetry. I mean, I know they're free verse, and they don't sound like poetry in some instances, but the line stops short of the right-hand margin. It's either a recipe or a poem. I'll share some of those with you tonight. This is called In 999, Erickson Sailed the Ocean Brine. The Discovery, according to Mac Dryden. The story actually began in 960 when the great Norse explorer Eric the Red sailed off to find a warm island paradise, and instead discovered Iceland, where summer usually comes and goes on the second Thursday of July. Eric's first mate, Oscar the Orange, suggested they go find Hawaii or the Bahamas, someplace they didn't have to wear fur to the beach. But Eric said those places were for sissy explorers like Bjorn the Beige and Lars the Lavender. Attired with a traditional granite and pewter sundial, his son... Y'all get that? His son Leif, pronounced Leif, changed his name from the Red to Eric's Son for credit purposes. Later dropped the apostrophe because it was tacky, and became Leif Erikson, unsung real discoverer of the New World. Young Leif carried on his father's lifetime quest to find the most uncomfortable places on earth. Finally, after untold hardships, he found a new land he called Newfoundland. All the creative types having frozen to death during the crossing, thus saving us an early infestation of poets.
Yesterday, and he read. You're going to read the Bible?
Yeah, I'll read them.
He read a couple of those, and I was like, then it was my turn, And my book is Color of Morning, M-O-U. Very upbeat. Let's just be a blanket and throw it on the crowd. I grew up in Austin, and still say I'm from Austin. Nancy kicks me and says, "You haven't lived there in 30 years." I love Austin. And I actually have a poem that tells how I want to be, my ashes spread in Barton Springs someday. I'll spare you that poem tonight. But in the 60s and 70s, it was a wild time in Austin. You could see a lot of things happening that were historic, and it was just a blur, really. But one of the things that was happening all the time is you would run to LBJ, you know, when he was president, just on the street. And one of his favorite places to eat was the Nighthawk Steakhouse on Congress Avenue. And how many people from Austin are familiar with that? Well, this poem is about my running into LBJ at the Nighthawk restaurant, and I mean literally running into it. Congress Avenue rolls south from the Paramount Theater, straight through centuries of live oak, over the Colorado River Bridge, before it was a lake, over the first main bridge before it housed the dark cloud of bats, and past the flagship Nighthawk restaurant, where I remember running head to chest into President Lyndon Johnson as his Secret Service agents, holding the glass doors open, looked on in horror at the unexpected possibilities of our collision. As I swung into the double doors like some unexpected, we did that uncertain dance to squeeze by each other in the small vestibule of the double door entry. LBJ, in trapped composure, I imagine with steak or beer on his mind. I, in awkward and puzzled wonderment. Secret Service agents on the outside and inside doors, staying stiffly cool, sizzling.
Mommy became a mommy. And it derives from a couple of column pieces I wrote. And I don't know if any of my column pieces have generated more response than these two. People want to know if it really happened, my response to the novel. I cannot say with certainty that it did not. When the mummy became a mummy, unearthed by workers at a Cairo site, weeks she lay coated with sepia dust in the back room of a city museum, in dark and silence and solitude, patience a key virtue for the dead. When he came the first time, he slipped in, propped his broom and mop in a corner, pulled up a chair, sat long and studied in the pale glow of his flashlight beam her thin and wraith-like figure, wondering what lay beneath the windings. Then he came again, bringing candles, lighting them, placing them in either end of the case they had her stretched out in. In time, he touched her ancient wrappings. Now fingers were where they shouldn't be. His feverish hands stroked her length. He sang soft tunes of love, and in the silence of that lonely room rose whispers and sounds of passion. Months later, someone discovered her carelessly rewrapped body and noted her bulging belly. The doctor found a heartbeat, determined that she was with child. Dovey Sitar, his name was, the man who fell for this ancient creature, resurrected her with passionate love after 3,000 years of dreamless sleep. Dovey laid aside his mop and broom and ended up in prison to lie upon his bunk day after day, studying the gray ceiling, enduring the scathing ridicule of many, including the prison cooks, whose joke was a special dish for him, necrophilia gumbo. I don't think that's funny. You know, it's hilarious. Cool guy. Necrophilia gumbo. Meanwhile, the mummy became a mummy. Baby removed by tut-cut section. Baby is well and wait. Y'all get that? Tut-cut section. Baby is well and waiting for adoption. Mommy is a cold, silent mummy again, rewrapped and tucked in cozy. She is propped up now for all to view, lying under glass and colorful lights, dreamless and loveless and mute.